I know I need a love I All right, so yo, welcome to Starlight Man. We're gonna be this one. Yeah. So look, welcome to Starlight Man. We're gonna do this one fast and shit like that. Um, so get into it, right? Check it out. Runs of Reality Simplified or whatever like that, whatever the title is. So there's only two quick topics. Just get right into it, right? So understanding we talk about density levels, realms of realities, levels of existence, and levels of life. There's no pinpoint to this, that, and the third because the realms of realities are innumerable. Because whatever overall totality realm of reality you're in, there's multiple millions, trillions, billions, not even a number to put that you can even put on it inside of each of those. Yo, shout out Stretch. My dog Stretch, my boy Stretch. Yes, sir. Y'all go follow Stretch channel, man. He got good knowledge, good game. You see what I'm saying? Go shout out to Stretch. Go follow his channel. So we're gonna make this one quick today, but early. But basically, when you talk about realms of realities, you gotta understand when you talk about the dream world, the same way like I just point when you talk about the dream world and different realms of reality that there is, you gotta understand that there's many different levels. You see what I'm saying? But remember, it's not an up and down thing, but it is a less dense and a more dense thing. You see what I'm saying? Several different layers within and without. So when you talk about dreams, this is why some people they have dreams that are just mundane, or I don't even say mundane. I'm gonna say just as dense or physical as they are when they're awake. So there's nothing different or significant about it. It's just the same as when they are awake. So for instance, right? Because I done been there. Because I done been trying to get out of my different. So a lot of times, like when you have dreams that you're just awake and doing the same shit that you're doing, like you're here, right? Like you waking up, you whether you go to your job, you wake up, you whatever you do in your regular day to day routine, you're doing the same shit you're doing in your dream. That's you being here. You see, and everything you see in homes, houses, trees, all that shit, wherever you at. That you having dreams about Earth, that lets you know, okay, you still in this reality, aka you still floating around what you would consider on Earth or on this planet. Now, in that, I give it to you. It don't always have to be bad. You don't want to get lost into these things, no. But it's not necessarily bad or wrong. It depends because you can have a dream where you on Earth, but it be a low vibrational, heavy, dense dream on Earth, or you can have a dream on Earth where it's a lighter realm of reality. For instance, you may have a dream where you still on Earth and shit, you still seeing familiar structures and things, but it's less dense. So you may be flying when you're on Earth, or you may be in a situation where things are just lighter in general, more brightness, more light, less dense. You see what I'm saying? So the thoughts, even though you don't think like you think in awake life, you still have a sense of thought in a dream to a certain extent. It's just more moonlight. It's more subconscious. It's more based upon your emotions and feelings. So when you're in these higher version of Earth dreams, you still in this realm and on Earth, but you're in a higher realm of reality and the less dense of it. Then you'll be in a situation where you don't have as much heavy emotions and feelings in that dream. It may even be so vague and light that the way you process information in the dream may be lighter. It's not heavy, either good or bad. It's not heavy though. It's not heavy. It's not something that bring you down. It's not a low vibrational dream. It's not dense. It's not as physical the same way it would be as if. Let's go to the next one. As if you was on Earth again. You still on Earth. You still in this plane of existence in this realm of reality, seeing things that are familiar, but it's heavy dense. Ain't no flight. Everything is dense, just like you are here. But it might even be more worse. It'd be maybe more dense, aka you down here. These be the dreams that y'all be having nightmares in. The more dense the dream is, and this is gonna lead me into the next video I'm gonna do because I got another one coming about the different levels of realities, the density levels and the chakras and how they're correlated. Because that's some deep shit too. But anyway, this is how y'all have nightmares too. Because when y'all be in a heavy dense dream and y'all haven't either been in a state of clairvoyance, aka through meditation, aka clearing up thoughts and feelings, y'all haven't been doing things to keep your space light and your spirit and your soul light, then a lot of times you can manifest a heavy dream, especially if things are too cluttered or you're in a situation where you haven't been shedding off. You see what I'm saying? And so that's how that plays off. But yeah, if you in any situation, right? Because I'm gonna wrap this up. But if you in any situation where you're having a dream like that, these are dreams that are more dense. These are heavy dense dreams. So these gonna always can play out as either a nightmare, or even if it's not as extreme as for you to quote unquote the energy of a nightmare, it's still in that category because it may play out as something that you seeing or something you experiencing that you don't want to experience. Even if it's not as extreme as a nightmare, it's still gonna be something maybe you don't want to experience. Or even if it's not nothing to do with fear associated with anything like that, it may be something that you dread. Like for instance, you doing something that you know you don't want to do. You just being in a heavy state in general. And since remember, you such in a low state in a dream, you in a heavy density of earth, you're gonna be in a situation where you are kind of going to manifest usually a negative dream more so in this type of dream state, because that's like you being in the way we are now. We in these physical bodies, we in a heavy dense. We condense our spirit to this. So if you in a dream side this low, as heavy as we are now, you floating on these levels and ground levels and shit like that, and you that dense in the dream, it's almost impeccable that you're gonna have a heavy dense dream, because you're in a reality right now where this is heavy current. You see what I'm saying? This not a light current. This is a heavy current. And when we die, when we go into our dreams, we're supposed to be in a lighter reality in general. We're supposed to be light. That's why they say shed. Supposed to be light. Light as a feather, and talk about the Maya concept. Not to get lost into the concepts, but to understand what they're pointing to, because there's truth in everything. And so when we be too heavy, usually due to attachments, the attachments and desires are the main ones. I'm gonna be honest. If you're a human being, you 9 times a year, those are the main ones. Now there's other things that can help that too, aka your life circumstances and all that stuff, and you being having too much on your mind. But usually you being in any of these states can drag you back down here. And a lot of people, this is how you get the concept of ghosts, because a ghost is nothing more than a being that passed away, that is lost and don't even realize, it probably don't even realize that it's dead, to be honest, and it's still floating around doing the same shit that it was doing when it was in its wake life. But see, the difference between a ghost and another spirit that's either trying to get into reality or just or done passed on, is a ghost was attached to its life in the ways of doing things when it was awake, and didn't want to let those things go. So that's the difference between a ghost. It's different than the spirit that just passed on and just and really it don't mind experiencing something new, or even if it hasn't been big enough to expand and go to a new realm of reality, or it hasn't expanded his imagination to travel broader, he's gonna come back here. But if it's light enough, it still might manifest a lighter life. So the mind and body it come into may not have that much mental. It might not have as much mental issues. It might not have as much physical issues. It may not have a circumstance situation that's more overbearing or played out as what we consider negative. You see what I'm saying? But that's how that plays out. And so ending this out, I'm gonna say that's how it plays out. Now there are other realms of realities that you can go to as a spirit. If you floating around on Earth when you in dream world, it's not necessarily good or bad, but just know that there's different levels in it. You got a heavy dense of Earth that if you floating around in the dream world that you be on, this is where a lot of nightmares get created. It's heavy dense, heavier vibrations. Everything is impactfully felt, more heavy. And 9 times out of 10 it could bend into being more negative. And then you got the lighter reality of Earth, or then you got the mundane level of Earth, which is like here and there. But then you got the lighter reality of Earth, where it's more what you could consider more vague, but really it's more brightness and it's less dense. You see what I'm saying? Much more of a lighter reality. So it's not as heavy. That most of the feelings you have in the dream aren't as heavy. They don't hold you down as much. So these where you may float or take flight more. You may be in a lighter reality of Earth. Things may look similar in structures, but it may be a more brighter, lighter reality because it's less dense. And so, like I said, everything isn't more emotionally heavily trying to drag you down. Now, one thing you need to understand too is there's other realms of realities outside of even Earth that a person can travel to. We talk about a dream world, so you can be in a situation too where you don't just have a dream about Earth. You be in a situation where you float. If your imagination is broad enough, or you super less dense, you might have a dream where you fully go off into the fourth or the sixth dimension, and you don't even have a dream about Earth or the way it looks. Period. You be in a higher, lighter reality where nothing don't look the same as Earth. Now, this can play out 2 ways. You could either be in a situation where you remember a little bit of it and you can kind of make a little bit of sense out of it. Shout out to Daryl's World. Shout out to Liam Webb, man. Y'all go follow them up. Or you could be in a situation where a lot of times you don't always remember it. So when you look at it, it's like a almost like a meditative dream, but like a clairvoyant state where you don't necessarily remember everything in the dream. But it's not that it didn't happen and didn't exist. Your spirit did go through those travels, but it was so light and dense, and it was probably, you know what I'm saying, a certain type of way where when you came back down here, the mental body, the mental brain that you in, because this brain is still physical to an extent. So your mind is not. Your mind is expanded broad beyond all of this ish, higher and low. But when you bring it into this brain to make sense out of it, that's why I tell people the mind and brain is similar, but the mind is different than the brain. But the brain is a physical representation of the mind, but the brain is only a certain piece of the mind. That's why we have to expand on these type of things. You have to expand on your brain to have more sense and awareness and realization and remembrance and memory, because a lot of times the brain only can hold so much capacity. Yeah, it does have the capacity to expand, but you have to train these things, whereas the mind is just always is. And so your expansions of your mind is always been. You as a spirit, you have that information. And see, but with the brain, a lot of times you can only make so much sense out of certain realms of realities, because the realms of realities that you might have traveled to in the spirit realm or astral realm or dream world or whatever, don't the elements that are made up of that world and that realm of reality that may be different than Earth, it might not have enough elements and substance, like to correlate in this realm, like the elements in the substance of what makes sense in this realm of reality, for you to make sense out of it and logically come up with a name, meaning, or interpretation to explain to someone, to bring it down into this realm of reality and existence, for somebody to understand what you're talking about, so that you something that you can correlate it to. You see what I'm saying? So that's how that plays out. So a lot of times that's all it be. Your brain may not always, in this realm of reality, it may not have the elements to perceive or to communicate what you just saw. That's why a lot of people that be on psychedelics and certain strong drugs, when they go in that realm, even though they're bringing their yin conscious into that spirit realm, it's still like they're in a situation where all the elements that existed in that realm of reality, it's hard to break it down with these in this physical realm of reality. Like I said again one more time, because of all the elements and that makes sense in this realm of reality, it may not make sense. That realm of reality may not make enough sense to bring it down, to communicate or correlate it in this realm of reality for somebody to understand what you're talking to, right? Talking about. All right, and then lastly, hold on, let me bring out my notes, because I'm gonna get up out of here. There was one more thing I had to say. Oh yeah, and so do boom. We gonna end it out with this, and then lastly, you understand this, right? When it comes to how far as a spirit you can travel, a few things deal with your ability to travel, right? One is your spirit size, and another one is your one. Well, let's say this again. One is your spirit size, also how much consciously aware you are, and also your imagination broadness level. Like the broader your imagination is, whether your spirit is expanded a certain way or not, you're gonna have more access to travel in the astral realm, because you have more creativity and imagination. You see what I'm saying? Because we kind of create the world. I don't want to say we create worlds, but at the same time, it's like teamwork makes the dream work, they say. So it's spirits doing the same thing that we're doing in the space and frequency vibration that we in. So say you have a certain imagination, right? For you to even catch a thought, that means that reality existed in some shape or form. Either somebody else externally in this world already created it, or another being in another astral realm, or you see what I'm saying, created that. So once you tap into that, boom, you tap into that. Now once you started thinking about it and adding your own creativity to it, that's you helping making up that world, or aka you adding to that world, or adding your own perception of that world, all that. So all of these worlds we create together. You see what I'm saying? Um, that's how that plays out. You know what I'm saying? But I believe there's always gonna be a spirit that's correlated to your energy in some shape or form. And they never gonna. I don't think it's ever gonna be a situation. It's gonna be where you create a thought and a creativity that's so unique and different from all other beings in existence. Not even just this earth low realm. This is a low damn vibrating. This ain't the only realm of reality. This is a low vibrating. So there's gonna be other beings that's resonating over there in that space, in this space, over here, up, down, left, right. Every situation you could even imagine of, farther and outer, more contracted, more expanded, bigger spirit, smaller, from everywhere, everything. So I highly doubt that it's gonna be a situation where you come up with a creativity that's so unique that nobody in ever existence had it, because you wouldn't even have the access or the abilities or elemental makeups to even create certain realm realities of imaginations, to even project certain images if they didn't already exist, for you to even pull from that elemental tablet and use Neptunian energy of imagination. You see what I'm saying? To even spark that thought or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Because all these things are intercorrelated in different forms. But before I get too far, that's you just need to know that your ability to travel as a spirit, whether you want, because we talk about travel in general, your spiritual travel in general. I don't care if we talk about how far you can travel in the dreams. I don't care if we talk about how far, what dictates how far a person will travel after death. It all, and it's ended out, this is the last important thing. It all comes down to these last three things. Your ability to travel comes down to how consciously aware you are and how big your spirit is and how broad your imagination is. That dictates how far you can travel. And with that being said, I'm gonna get up out of here. Because remember, a person that spirit not as broad is not gonna be aware as much. So they only gonna be aware of what the circumstance or bowl they in, aka if they on earth, they only gonna be aware of this and have dreams about this and have imaginations about this. Now, the more imagination that person have, the more likely they can do that. And if the imagination is that far and broad, they will have more imaginations to access to have imaginations to other realms of realities. But if you don't have that broad of imagination and your spirit is not that broad, 9 out of 10, you ain't gonna be traveling that far. Whether you ain't gonna have dreams that's as far out and unique and different, you only gonna have dreams about what's familiar to you, like Earth. Or and when you die, 9 out of 10, you're just gonna reincarnate because there's no portal or body or realm reality you can take that resonates with the energy that's different than Earth. Because all you got on your mind is Earth. You don't got no imagination for nothing else or no imagination, period. So all you going to have on your mind is Earth, one. Two, your spirit is not that broad and expanded. So there's no higher vessel because it's not upper and lower. It's outer and inner. It's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Or you wouldn't look at Earth the way it is. But anyway, and that you see what I'm saying? So that dictates how far you can travel. How broad, how how broad your spirit is, how expanded your spirit is, and how consciously aware you are, and how broad your imagination is. With that being said, I love y'all, man. Y'all have a great day and shit like that. If y'all got any questions, hit me up in the chat, hit me up in the comment section. I will get back with y'all for sure, because you know I don't mind making a video for y'all. And I will be back soon, because I know another video I got to drop off, and I got some videos after that I need to come up with and make and shit like that. But I love y'all, man. Y'all stay spiritually inclined, spiritually protected, and yes, sir, yes, sir.